Hey, cyber babies, it's Mother Love with Mr. Shaq C on a Saturday afternoon. Why? Because we love you. And we reminisce on Saturday about a wonderful program that is still extremely viable right now today. And so many people are hurting so much and they're doing all kind of crazy stuff to each other. I was the original host of Forgive and Forget, those many years ago. And then we fast forward to the 21st century and we're still needed. And Shaq C, that handsome fella right there, let us know how important this was to him. Hey, baby, how you doing today?
I'm good, Mother Love. How you doing on this
All
on
I
this
can,
evening?
all I'm trying to do all I can, and the easy ones twice.
Yeah, as much we should.
Well, that's what I do. So what we do on Saturday afternoon from 5 p.m. until 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you're on East Coast time, it's what 8 o'clock there. So most of us are, just kind of meandering along about the 8 o'clock hour. But now you can sit down and listen to the show, Forgive or Forget. This is Shaq C, who has dedicated 7 years of his life and then now dedicating his life with me on Saturday. And I'm taking full and absolute credit for all this. And
You should.
tell people what it is that you do and why
Uh,
you do it.
well, most of it's already done. I still have a few more, but I taped a whole bunch of Forgive and Forget episodes back in of 2013, 2015, and I uploaded them to YouTube because I thought that there would be Forgive and Forget episodes, and I looked online and there weren't any. So I went to get some tapes. I taped all the Forgive and Forget episodes that aired on Bounce TV when they were in reruns, and I uploaded them to my YouTube channel, and I did that for about 4 years, and so yeah, I have about 150 episodes now, and just about later today when I get off with you, I'm gonna try to get some more because I know I have some more
That didn't
recorded.
come
So
out right. That didn't come out right.
I'm gonna get some more
Okay,
episodes.
but you know what didn't come out right?
Oh, what didn't
I
come
get
out
off
right?
of you. You said when I get off of you.
Oh, I mean, when I get off the show, that's what I meant.
I'm just saying that didn't come out right.
No,
You gonna have to clean that up in post. But when I
or get
get off
off
of
with
you,
you.
oh yeah, don't try to clean it up now, baby. It's all right. It's all right. Because sometimes folk got to get up off of me, and I totally understand. I do. And I always put going to the next realm to find out what's jumping off. So what do you have for us this day?
All right. Well, this is an episode. I decided since I'm going forward on my playlist, I decided to go backwards. So this is one of the episodes I've recently uploaded. So this one has 3 different stories on it. The first story is called "I Lied About Letting You Adopt My Baby."
Okay, see, you know what? I
Yeah.
didn't really I did get the depth of the stories that they were telling, but sometimes it just be way out there. I regret
Mhm.
letting you adopt my child. Okay, I'm ready. Okay. I mean, how do you get ready for somebody to say I lied about you adopting? Excuse me, did I just do a pager thing? It pardon everyone. So what's going on?
Yeah, these episodes are real crazy. So let me get this so we can have us. All right, ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right.
Our guests have come here today not knowing if the person they're hoping to see will say, I forgive you, or forget it. Welcome to Forgive or Forget. And now the host of Forgive or Forget, Mother Love.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Forgive or Forget. Let's meet our first guest.
My name is Jennifer Renfro. I promised a woman who couldn't have kids that I'd let her adopt my baby. After he was born, I changed my mind. She was devastated. I owe her a big apology.
Hi, Jennifer.
Hello, Mother Love.
Now, we have the woman you made this promise to, Mary Cardoza, with us live backstage. She's listening in. Now, how did you end up offering to let her adopt your baby to begin with?
Well, when I was 14, I had my first child. And I wasn't sure if I was going to terminate the pregnancy or not, and I figured that adoption would be the best. My mother's friend introduced me to her, and I met Mary. I talked to her at her house for about 3 hours, and she told me that I would be a part of the baby's life, that I would be able to be the godmother and be able to see the baby whenever I wanted to. And when it came down to it, when I went to the hospital to have the baby, she was there for me. She did everything for me whenever I needed anything. She did anything for me. She was like a big sister.
You said you had your first baby at 14.
Yes.
So this baby that we're talking about, is this your first baby or your second?
My second child.
Okay, so you had the first baby.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're a teen mother and you're trying to raise this child.
Yes.
And you realized you couldn't terminate your pregnancy.
Yes. So I figured that adoption would be the best.
And you meet Mary.
And she was so great. She was loving. She would do anything and everything to have a child. And since she couldn't have a child, I figured I would give it to her. And
do you know why she couldn't have a child?
I know she lost a baby when she was pregnant, and it was real hard for her. And she did everything for me, Mother Love. She was there by me. She helped me. And when we went to the hospital, she was in the room with me. She held my hand. She cried when the baby was born. It's just so sad that she couldn't have a child. And the next day she came to visit me, and the nurse was like, I don't think you should let her have the baby until you sign papers. Papers are signed.
So did she leave with the baby? She left the hospital with the baby?
I left with the baby. I left with the baby because there was no paper signed for the adoption. And then my mom was like, I'll help you with anything. You know, I'll babysit the baby. I'll do anything. I'll give you money if you need it. So it was kind of, my mom kind of talked me out of it.
So you had promised this lady, you and she have gone through all of this, gone through the emotional process, gone through a financial process, and you had given your word.
Yes.
That you would let her adopt your child.
Yes.
This is a baby boy.
Yes.
Then you take the baby home, and your mother convinces you not to give Mary the baby?
Yes.
So what do you call Mary and tell her?
That I wasn't going to give the baby to her.
And how does she respond to that?
She just cried and cried and cried. I felt so bad. I'm so sorry. And then the father took the baby, and
since you promised her the baby, did you name the baby or did she name the baby?
She named the baby, and that's the name that was on the birth certificate. And then I named him. So he had two names, but the name that she chose was on the birth certificate.
So you were planning to
I planned to. I never figured that I'd back out. I was for sure that I was going to give the baby up for adoption.
So now how long do you keep?
It was 3 months.
Okay, so then I understand that you called her, after you kept him, you called Mary back.
Yeah.
And why did you call her back the second time?
Because I was going through a lot of problems, and the father had the baby at the time, taking care of him, and I felt it would be better if Mary had him. Mary could take care of him. And then her and her husband came to see him, and then 2 days later he passes away.
What was the matter? Can you tell?
He died at 6.
So one day, you have a baby, you have one, you've promised this baby to Mary, and then this baby has gone home. What do you say to her then?
I called her at work and said that we really needed to talk to her. And I went over to her sister's house. They got her from work and told her. I went over there and told her. And just me and her cried together, and I felt so bad. Now I know how she feels, that she can't have a baby because I lost him. Now I know how she feels.
He's gone now. There's nothing any of us can ever do to bring him back.
Right.
Why are you apologizing to her?
Because she was there for me. She would do anything to have a child. She did anything for me. She stood by me. Anything I ever needed.
But you gave her your word. Is that why you're so upset?
No, it's because I feel that I did her wrong. I should have never done this to her. I should have kept my word.
Because you know what that feels like.
Yes.
Well, Jennifer, why don't you turn to that monitor and tell Mary why you brought her here today.
Mary, I brought you here today to apologize to you. I'm so sorry. Will you please forgive me?
Mary, don't say anything yet. Think about what Jennifer just said to you. You have a few minutes to decide if you can forgive her for what she put you through. We'll be right back.
See, that was one of those shows where the host had to stop. I had to hold my head back like this so I wouldn't start crying. I mean, I couldn't even imagine what both of them have gone through.
Right.
And on top of all of this, then the baby dies from sudden infant death syndrome. I mean, look at that face. That baby face went to God. That's all. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see what happened.
It's just so sad, and that was the show. It was just a range of emotions every day. I can't imagine you being there and seeing
To let her adopt her.
I couldn't imagine either. I'm like, they're gonna kick me off this show. After I read one woman, I said, I'm gonna come back there and open a whole shelf of cans on your behind. Or they were like, stop her, she finna pull her hair off. Get her. Somebody go get mother, go get her right now. I was halfway from my chair. I was halfway there. And in that instant, it was like I was having an out-of-body experience. And I'm like, okay, just calm yourself down. But when you're talking about forgiving somebody, asking for forgiveness or saying, I don't want to have anything else to do with you, that can be, and that is very painful for a lot of people. Oh, see, you done start me on the roller coaster already. I'm starting to think. I mean, you know what you're doing. You really do, and you know how to pull these from them. And I remember the people's faces, and some of the stories I do remember, and some of them I don't. That's why we got Forgive and Forget up on Shaq's YouTube channel, so you can watch them when you want to. And if you know somebody who has been, if you or somebody you know has been on Forgive and Forget, get in contact with Shaq C or Mother Love. We'll hook you up, and we would love to talk about your story with you and where you are from where you were. So let's find out what happened to Jennifer.
Baby, is there any way Mary will forgive her for it?
We're back. Jennifer Renfro is hoping that Mary Cardoza will forgive her for the heartbreak she caused when she went back on a promise to let Mary adopt her baby son, who sadly is in heaven now. Jennifer, are you ready to find out if Mary can forgive you? Yeah. Go take your place in front of the door. All right, Jennifer Renfro, let's open the door. She is so hurt. Your word is such an important thing.
I know.
And you're just a young woman. And it's a shame that you have to grow up so fast. Mary, for whatever her reasons are, did not walk through that door. Let's talk to her and find out why. Mary, what do you want to say to Jennifer? It's all right, baby. I can't imagine how your heart is breaking.
It just hurts so much. What you did to me is just not forgivable, Jennifer. You knew that I was pregnant with twins and lost them. And that I had a baby in my care for about a year. And I explained all this to you. And you gave me your word. After that day that you left with him at the hospital, you promised. You told me, Mary, I would never change my mind. I'm not that kind of person. And I realized that you were a mother once again. You had that chance with Alex. We were going to give it a mother-father figure. You were going to be a part of our lives like no other adoption would. You know, I just can't forgive you for what you've done to me. That scar is embedded in my heart.
I'm so sorry, Mary.
And I realize you're young. I'm here today because I just want this to be a lesson to you that you cannot play with people's heart. You had your test. I remember the day that you came over when the baby was pronounced dead. You came over, and I had told you this was not the time for us to put fault at anything. But I'm here to tell you today, Jennifer, that I just can't forgive you. I can't.
Mary, you said that she knew all that you went through, that you had another child in your care.
Yes.
What happened? Do you want to tell us about that?
Well, the mother called me, and she says, it was a young mother also. She said, I want you to come and get the baby. His name was Mickey. Anthony, but his nickname was Mickey. And me and my husband went out to pick him up, brought him home, gave him everything a child would want or need. And he didn't speak any English. I had him for up to close to a year. When his mother called to actually come down to sign papers, she got here just to take him from my home.
And you knew this, Jennifer?
Yes.
So you knew she lost babies? You knew that another baby was taken from her?
It was hard. It really was for me to do it. And now I realize everything that she's gone through. Not everything, but I realize her loss. I'm so sorry. I know the loss that you went through, and you were there for me. You were like a big sister. I can't say how sorry I am.
You know, I can say this, Mary. I cannot imagine the pain that you are going through. But I will not believe that you are going to let this harden your heart to the point that you will not let the love of another child come into your life. I think somewhere there's babies for you because you're going to be a really good mommy because you still care. I thank you for sharing your story. I can only imagine how difficult this is for you, Jennifer, and for you, Mary. I really appreciate you sharing your story with us. We'll be right back.
Yeah.
Dang. I mean, even from that long ago to now,
Mm-hmm.
how much pain both of them were in. You know, I couldn't even imagine, and I couldn't imagine giving up a baby. I just couldn't. And
Right.
my mother was like that. She would, you know, how people collect stray dogs and cats.
Yeah.
My mother collected stray people and stray babies.
Oh.
And we didn't know. And we, you know, a lot of kids, when you got a lot of kids in your family, sometimes you have to double up and sleep with your sisters or your brother. My mother didn't play that. Everybody slept in their own bed. You know, I'd have to share my bed
Wow.
with my brothers and sisters or anything like that, like ever, never. And so she would come in, you in the middle of the night, you sleep dreaming, you in REM sleep, and your mama come in and push you and say, baby, don't roll over too much. It's a baby in your bed. What?
What?
I thought I was dreaming, and I must have touched the baby with my feet because I'm like, wait a minute, why is this? I don't have a pillow down there, and the baby was moving, and this was in the middle of the night, and I get up right before dawn, and it's this little tiny baby in the bed with me, and reached up his little hands, you know, like please pick me up, and I picked him up, and I almost had to saw my hip off to get that child away from me. Oh, I was like, no, you brought him over here. So, and I was 15. My mother said, you stupid. You know, 15-year-old, well, back in the day, way back in the slave days, and back in, you know, in several centuries behind us, most women were, once you hit your childbearing years, that's what you did.
Yeah, you were an adult. Yeah.
That you had babies, and your babies got taken away from you. And then to have this angst on her heart, I would hope she sees this, and I hope that both of them have healed from this, because that's a big gap right there. That's a big. See, and I say this every weekend. I ain't going to get my tissue box, and I need to go get my tissue. Okay, what's the next one? I'm ready.
All right, so the next one is called. Well, yeah, this. I mean, you're gonna have to have this tissue box. Yeah, this one is gonna be rough too. It says, I said dad abused me, but it was a lie.
Dad, not my mama boyfriend, but my dad.
Dad.
You going from bad to worse. Okay, come on. This is what we did, and this is what we do, and this is what's needed so much right now. And I'm working on a way to make that happen, people. I'm telling you, I'm working on it. Okay.
We got to. Obviously, these stories are these stories are not just because these were made in 1998, 1999. This is timeless. This right here. I'm sure somebody was going through that, unfortunately.
I'm sure. I've had one of my very dear girlfriends, when we were very young, she had a baby. And when the baby was born, she got to take him home. And when she went to take him home, she went to, did all the stuff that, new mommies do. And we always called her an old soul. She was old soul with her name. And she was like really she said she didn't want her mother taking care of the baby because she was so young. She couldn't get an apartment by herself. So she said, I'm going to make this work. She went and got after school. She and I worked on one job together, and then she went to another job. I'm like, oh Lord, don't let me have no kids. I got to give them all my money. And she came home from work and went to see the baby. And he was very fair skinned. And she said, you could hear her scream through the whole projects. It's one of them blood curling screams. It seemed like it lasted for hours. And she kept screaming, and she was like just screaming. And he had passed away. And back then they didn't know what it was. We didn't have a title, a name to say this is sudden infant death syndrome. They just said, well, of course they'll say, well, that was God's plan. So that's it. She fast forward, she went on to, she healed her heart, but she always kept there was always a special place in her heart for her firstborn. And she went on to have 2 or 3 kids, and she probably got a grandchildren by now. And so, and she was broke up for a long time about that. I mean, and she said, she told me, she said, I don't think I ever get over this. I am going to get through this. And she's a warrior queen, and went on and made a life for herself. And, God is good all the time. So you just never know what's going to be your life. So is this the daughter accusing the father of incest?
Yeah, I guess it's the daughter. Yeah.
Child abuse. Well, incest is child abuse. I don't know why they try to put them two separate. Like, this is child abuse and this is incest. Anytime you're having sex with one of your children or one of your relatives, that's child abuse. And when they can't consent, it's called rape. I'm just okay. Let's see what this chick has to say about it.
Yeah, let's find out, because I don't think I've watched this one. Yeah, so this is gonna be interesting. So
welcome back. Let's hear why our next guest is here.
I told Child Protective Services that my stepfather was abusing me. I said that he had grabbed me by my throat and dragged me across the carpet. Everything that I said was a lie. I owe him an apology, and I hope that I can clear his name.
Please welcome Heather Burns. Heather, come on out. Hi, Heather.
Hello.
Now, we have your stepfather, Rodney, with us live backstage, and he's listening in to what you have to say. Now, why did you lie and say that he was abusing you when he wasn't?
Well, me and my mom were going through a lot of problems, and I felt that that was the only way that I could get out of the house.
So you blame your stepfather. So tell us about your relationship with your mother and your stepfather that led up to all of this.
Well, my mom and my stepfather, they met when I was 5, and they got married, and he was like a dad to me. He did everything for me. He was just there for me whenever I needed him. And a couple years ago, I started high school, and I started getting involved with the wrong crowd, and I was just doing drugs and just drinking and skipping school constantly. I didn't want to listen to anything that anybody was ever telling me. And I cleaned up my act a little bit towards the end of my freshman year. And then when I started up at my sophomore year, it started all over again except for the drugs. And I just didn't know what to do. The relationship between me and my mother was getting worse. And I felt the only thing that I could do was run away. I tried to run away, and I was in a car, and as my friend was packing his stuff to leave, my stepfather caught us, and I was in a stolen car, and I was arrested. I was put back into my parents' care, and my stepfather took me hunting, thinking that it would focus me out, making me just try and get my life back together, and it didn't work, because the Monday after we got home, I skipped school again and went over to a friend's house, got into a fight, which left the bruises on me. And when I got home, my mom and I got into a bad argument, and I told her that...
Was this about you skipping school again after they were trying to get you calmed down and get you focused?
Right.
Okay.
And I had told her that I wanted to live with my biological father, and she told me that I couldn't. So I said, well, why not put me in foster care?
Oh, you just had all the answers. You don't want to do what I say. I don't want to do what you say. Just put me in the foster care system. Yeah. And so?
So my mom had called Department of Social Services, and they started asking me questions. They asked me if I was emotionally abused, and I said yes. They said, are you sexually abused? And I said no. And they said, well, are you physically abused? And I thought that I had to say yes, otherwise I was never going to get out of there.
So this was like a snap decision. You never even thought about this. You didn't plot. It's just, ooh. What did you tell them that your stepfather did to you?
Well, I told them that he had grabbed me by my throat and dragged me across the carpet and threw me into a wall.
And did you have bruises around your throat?
No. I had bruises around my throat and on my jaw from the fight that I got into with the girl.
So one of your peers and you are fighting, and you blame this on your stepfather.
Yeah.
And how does he respond?
Was he
there at the time?
Yeah.
And what does he say? How does he respond?
He didn't know why. Well, he knew why I did it, but he didn't know why I did it to him. And when we went to court, he had lied and said that he did do it to me so that I could get out of the house.
He cared enough about you to keep this lie going? Well, we have your mom, Tammy, here, and she has a lot to say about this. Tammy, come on out, please. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, I'm well. What was going through your mind with... Talk to us about what she's been putting you all through.
Well, I tell you, Heather, for the past couple of years, you have put us all through a whirlwind. I have 4 other children younger than Heather also that looked up to her and did everything that she did. So it was really difficult. You know how bad you hurt your dad. It's very difficult for a stepfather to take a daughter under his wing and care for him as it is, just as their own. But he loved you so deeply, and he still does. It's just so very hard. It's easy to say, I forgive, but it's so hard to forget. Our marriage has been torn. We fight with each other constantly. It's just very hard to get through your head. I had to holler. You weren't listening, and it's so frustrating when your child won't go to school, wants to skip school, do drugs, snort Ritalin. I mean, these are things that are so
Wait a minute.
unbelievable.
Tammy, that's a new one. Snort Ritalin?
Yes,
This is what you've been putting your mother through and your stepfather through? Do you realize what you've done, young lady? This is your family. They love you, no matter what. And you would put him in a position like that. You know, there are a lot of kids and a lot of adults that sit where you sit, and we hear awful, horrific stories about the things that their father or some man have done to them. And it's happened to them. And for you to use that to take your family out, your stepfather loves you.
he does. He really does.
Heather, you really want to apologize to your father? Turn to the monitor and tell your father what you want to tell him.
Dad, I know that what I did to you was wrong, and I am honestly and truly deeply sorry for everything that I did. You know that I love you deeply, and I don't know what to say. You did everything for me. You were there for me. When everything was going bad in my life, you were there for me to lean on you. And I'm sorry, and I love you.
Rodney, don't say anything yet. Think about what Heather just said to you. We're going to take a short break. And while we do that, you can decide if you want to forgive her for what she did. We'll be right back. You know, I hear what her mother is saying. It's hard enough to marry somebody who had, you know, you marry into a ready-made family. And for him to want to take up that huge responsibility. And she's a teenager at the time. And I say this all the time. Teenagers make you understand why some species eat their young. Because sometimes
Yeah.
they want to tell you what to do, how you should speak to them. You know, I'm going out with who? Why? My friends. Well, where you going? Why you need to know? Okay, see, that'd have been a backhand against the back of your neck. I'm one of them old school mamas. I know how to get the hairbrush and throw it around the corner. And see, that's what's wrong with a lot of people. They are so afraid of disciplining their child. And it's a difference between, you know, giving your child a reprimand, a verbal reprimand, or giving your child, you know, some licks and what have you. Look, I used to get the cowboy crap beat out of me. How come I can't get the Indian crap beat out of me? Well, I got to be a cowboy. I got to add adjectives to it. And you just did not think about doing something like that. And could you imagine talking back? And you way younger than me.
Oh God!
Could you imagine
No,
talking back to your parent,
absolutely not.
Caregiver? I mean, it's just like,
because sometimes all you don't even need to say or put your hands on this. You just need to give a look, and a look be like, oh, I better not do it. So if I do, then it's hell to pay.
What?
Right?
And you have to think through it. And a lot of times teenagers don't think through stuff. They just want to get it out there. And then once they get it out there, go, oh, wait for 1 minute. That's not what I meant to do. They meant to do it, but they don't want to deal with the consequences of their actions. And to be able to, I mean, I couldn't even imagine tuning up my mouth to say anything, not just to my father and my mother, but to no elder. You did not, because your elders back when I was growing up, you got out of hand, they'll snatch a knot in your behind, and I'm telling you, a knot. They get a piece of your skin, and they can get it and twist it. By the time they get finished twisting, it turns into a knot. You know, and you know, there were times when I went to school, I could not sit down because of this right here. And my mother used to say, God rest her. So she used to say, so you done talk people into paying you to run your mouth. I said, no, mother, I'm a talk show host. So talk show host, they're paying you, right? Yes, mother, this is my book. And you do they know you gonna say what you say? Do they know you have no filter? Do they know that you? I said, well, mama, well, yeah. She was like, well,
Alrighty then. I never would have thought it. Never. I would have never thought I would have been a talk show host or any of that. I was doing good not to go to Luludale, the school for the bad girls. So all of this is house money for me. I'm living and praying on house money. So I understand. I don't understand her saying to the child welfare services, he grabbed me by the throat. I mean, she got a whole story. He grabbed me by the throat and he drugged me across the room and he threw me up against a wall. Now that wasn't an off the top,
No, she came up with that.
See, so it's not just me. Did you? I mean, did you feel like she had set that up and she had her story together before because she wanted to get out of the house? But for what?
Why would you to go to that extreme?
Right.
And see, she's 15, so you don't even know that is an extreme. You don't even know the danger that what if something happened to him? What if he did, go to and something happened, and then because you know what happens when they in jail, and I'm not gonna say it here, but you know what happened in jail to child abusers and child molesters and all that stuff
and rape. So, I mean, it's bad when you go to the penitentiary and the mass murderers will say, well, you raped a child. What you did is worse than what I did. And they got them at the bottom of the totem pole, at the bottom of the prison pole. I would just, she was 15. Yeah, 15-year-olds. We didn't know crap from apple butter when we were teenagers, But see, I always tried to stay one step ahead of my mother. That was fruitless. My mother, she just knew stuff that she wasn't supposed to know about what I was doing and who I was with. I thought she knew everybody in Cleveland. I did. I thought she knew everybody. Black people, white people, Native American people, people with pink dots. She knew the albinos. She knew the ones on crutches. She knew the ones that I'm like, Mama, do you just know everybody? Do you just? And so that kind of cut down on, me cutting up too bad. And I left when I was 17 because I was like, I wouldn't have been able to stand me as a child if I was her. And she said, I love you, but I can't stand you. And I was like, okay, let me go get some betterment in my life so I won't just get too crazy. Okay, so now let's hear that's my side.
Well, before we continue, we have some comments here. This guy says, I'm curious, did you ever meet Jonathan Goodson, Mark's son, who helped produce Forgive or Forget? What was he like in person?
Yes, I did. I knew Jonathan. Well, he's not dead. I don't think he's dead. Yes, I did.
No, he's not dead.
Yes, I did know Jonathan. Yes, I did. And he was one of the he was the one that made sure Forgive or Forget got put up with me as the host. And I've never said this to anybody. His father, Mark Goodson, who was the game show king. He created all kind of game shows, and he was a partner with it was Mark Goodson and Bill Todman Productions.
Yep.
And his father came down to. I was doing a show with, God rest his soul, with Alex Trebek. They had revised the game show to tell the truth.
Right.
And I was one of the 4 panelists on it. And I tell you, you could have knocked me over with a feather. When Mark came down on the set, because he was bringing that one back to life. He came down on the set, and he was a small statured man. And if you shorter than me, we really vertically challenged. And he came down, he dressed to the nine. He came down and he was like a kid in the candy shop. He came all the way over. I'm like, oh, that's Mark Goodson. He said, in front of everybody, I'm here to meet Mother Love. Oh, I'm here to meet Mother Love. And he came up and shook my hand and gave me a big old hug and told me how much he loved me. And he said, I want to work with you. I'm going to make you the first Black woman game show host. And I said, okay. But okay, I'm game with that. And to make a long story short, he got sick and passed away. So that show never got done. And then when they were coming up with the format for this show, they actually asked me about what did I think about, the format. And I gave them my notes and everything. And this one thing I really appreciated about Jonathan was he listened to what I had to say. And he listened to most of what I had to say. He told me.
I guess he knew through his dad that y'all had that connection. So I guess he was like, okay.
To honor his father.
Good. Oh, that's nice. That's a good story. I like that.
Yeah. And he didn't listen to me, and he and his team wanted to do a show their way. And I said, okay, but that's not what your father said. He, yeah, my dad's not here anymore. I'm like, okay, dude, back it up. You ain't got to get all crazy now. Make me have to nick you. And so they did a pilot, and I did what they asked me to do. And when they put it all together, I could feel it in my spirit when we were doing the show that this is not what to do. This is not what to do. I did what they did. Well, the check cleared too.
Oh, well, there you go.
And so we did the show to the best of my ability. We took the show. Matter of fact, when we did the show, they were doing a viewing party at this big executive producer's house over there, and upper echelon Hollywood in Los Angeles. And we go to his house. He had a screening room like a small theater. I mean, it could literally hold 50 people in the screen. So we sitting there, we're watching it. And I guess I made the face. I be trying. That's why I can't gamble, because I make the face. And he was watching me, the executive producer. He was watching me, and we watched it all the way to the end. By the time it got to the end, I'm like this. I'm balled up. And I'm going, they are not going to give me this job to help make this better. And he said to me, so what do you think, Mother Love? And what? Not thinking, needing to learn to bridle my tongue. I was like, I wouldn't watch it. And he went, everybody in the room went, what? I said, I wouldn't watch this. And he said, what do you mean? I'm like, my time is very valuable. And when I sit down and watch a television program, I want to have some kind of emotion. I want to be happy. I want to be pissed off. I want to be mad, something. And I was sitting there like that, making the faces. And it sounded contrived. It sounded like we had to rehearse that. And I was like, And I told her, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. And I didn't do it. And then Jonathan came, a few years later and said, this is what we're going to do. And matter of fact, Forgive and Forget is the name that I had on my list, because I said, I would like to name the show. Well, the first thing out of my mouth was I wanted to be called the Mother Love Show. Oh, you can't have that kind of clout. I'm like, why? I'm Mother Love. Why can't I? They didn't want, and I didn't even ask for executive producer credit. I just asked for either a co-producer or some kind of producerial thing. I wasn't going to direct it. And they told me no. So I had a list of names that I wanted the show to be called that I would be comfortable with. And I said, I'm going to put all these on here. And you got to give it. And I learned this. When you get to the place where you're either at the level of the above line people, where you have control over who's going to be your director, producer, all of that. And I said, and Forgive and Forget was one of them on my list, because they were going to call it Bullseye for Love. I was like, who gonna get that? You got to give them the first 10 seconds.
So whose idea was it for the door? That's what I'm concerned about.
Well, they came up with the door idea. Okay. And they wanted me or one of whoever the guest was, to wear a quill on, like okay, I'm gonna show you this. I didn't even think we were gonna talk about this.
Oh, okay.
This is my original trademark. Can you see it?
Oh, you might have to stand a little bit so everybody else can see. Yeah, I got the same shirt, but everybody wants to see it.
This is my first, and I was like the Cupid.
You like a Cupid.
Yeah, I was Cupid in the hood, helping my friends out with their relations and everything, because people got stupid and I came from a family of nurturers. And so people always came to my mother, my aunts, my grandmother, all people in our family, they would come. Our house was like the safe haven for the neighborhood. And so, they would come in crying, what's wrong with your eye? He hit me. He who? This is before drive-bys, I was like, okay, well, we going to find this one. And so to be able to do that, and Forgive and Forget was one of the ones that on the list, and I never in 100 years, I would have never thought that they would have picked that one. Because I was like, I love this one. And we used to have, when we did the pilot, we had well, actually, we never did a pilot. No, we did a pilot, but then they used it as the first show because it was so good. You're only supposed to do the pilot, just to get the buyers in. They ran it for the first. I was like, wait a minute, I wasn't. Listen. So anyway,
okay, I think we aired some of. I think we did some of that on the first time we did it. But maybe we should do the full. Maybe we should do the full show, because I don't think we did the full show.
Oh, you didn't last week? Not last week, because we were in Vegas.
I mean, okay. It was the first time we did it. Okay, I guess we must have did the whole thing.
Yeah, no. The first time we did it, you were only doing clips. We were
Okay,
telling
yeah.
them.
So we should do
Then
the
you
whole
said,
thing.
now you the one said a couple weeks ago, you had said, well, Mother Love, we haven't done a whole show. Let's just do a whole show.
Yeah, that is what I said.
That was his idea. I just take credit for the ideas.
But yeah, wow, that's a great. That's great. I've never heard of that about the door start. Like I knew about the Jonathan, but I didn't know about the door. So that's I like that.
One of the first we're going to do a curtain, just have a curtain. And then somebody said, well, why don't we just put a door up? And, and then when I saw it, I was like, that's it right there. That's it. Have them go to the door, because you don't know what's going to happen. And I told them, I'll read this, the synopsis of the story. I'll get their names right and everything, but I don't want to know. I want to find out when everybody else finds out. And they said, well, my love, you think that's going to be? I said, look, I'm an awesome talk show host. Don't be questioning me.
Yeah, because if you knew what they were going to do, then you'd be leading your questions to the first guest. Your questions would be more direct. And it wouldn't make sense.
And I wanted it to be peeled back like an onion. They come out like an onion, and let's start peeling these layers back. Let's just get to see now we done got to the stank part of the onion. All right, now this is what I want to know. Tell me what had happened. Tell me what had happened. And then they do. And I even watching these now, I'm telling you, every time I walked out on that stage, I wanted to get to know them. I wanted the audience to get to know them, the studio audience. And I wanted the viewing audience to be engaged with us as well and get them involved in it. And I can't tell you how many people said they done threw stuff at their TV. One lady said, my husband got so upset. I said, was he on the show? She said, no, he wasn't on the show. He was watching it. Said he got up and shook the TV like that.
Like that was good. Like they was gonna get shit.
I was like, I never understood the shaking of the TV though. I didn't even thought about that. I get some weird stories. One lady had a little boy. Oh, he was just as cute as a button. He, like you, was attracted to the music. And she said when the music would come on, they couldn't put no clothes on him. They could barely get a diaper on him because when he heard that music, he went shout out like a cannon. And she said, I don't even think he was, I think he was like 18, 19 months old. And some 18, 19-month-old kids, they can say some words. And he would get up to the TV real close and he would hold on to the TV and kiss me all over. And she sent me a picture of him hugging the TV, me on the TV, and him hugging the TV. You couldn't have bought me for a quarter.
That's so cute.
I mean, I was just outdone. Because, you can fool people, but you can't fool a child and you can't fool an animal.
Babies is pure, like that. Whatever they like is what they like, and that's
what
it.
They like. That's what they like. I remember when I was doing my first movie, and I was with Hulk Hogan and Sherman Hemsley. And wait a minute, what did you? Oh, you got.
I'm right here. It
was with Hulk Hogan and Sherman Hemsley. It's called Mr. Nanny. I was the cook. I was not the maid. I was the cook, and when we first get there, we're there, for pre-production and going through the wardrobe and whoop the what to do and getting to learn getting to know the crew. And so Hulk Hogan came up on the set with his wife and his son, and their daughter was little, but her brother was, I think he was big enough. He was big enough that he could walk, but he could walk. And so he came in, this little boy. And he looked up at me, and his mama's name is Linda. He looked up at his mother, and he pulled on her shirt, and he said, Mommy, I like the brown lady.
Oh.
I was like, and he was pointing at me. So I thought, I'm like, y'all ain't gonna call me black. Now, if the baby could get that I'm brown, how come y'all can't get that I'm brown? And after that, I thought, don't call me black. I'd rather be called colored, because I'm a color burnt sienna. And his son just loved me. Every day he would come on the set and he would forget about his daddy. Look, I remember Terry saying, oh, so you done just made me obsolete with my own children. I said, how you gonna make you obsolete? He's like, because soon as you get on the set, they only want to come and hang out with you. And they were really cool kids. They grown now. I think his name was Nicholas, I think. And it was just really something. And don't let me not be there. Don't let me not be there in the morning when he get there. Maybe my call time was after his nap time, but he wasn't going to take no nap till he saw the brown lady. And he never called me Mother Love. He always called me the brown lady. Now, how about that? Ain't that
That's
something?
good. All right, let's get. We got totally carried away.
I've been doing it for a long time, and then you bringing up stuff that I have forgot about.
Sorry.
And I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, it was something. It was really something. Okay, let's find
get
out
back to
what
this.
happened with
We're back. And Heather Burns came here to try to repair the damage she did to her stepfather and her family when she falsely accused him of abusing her. Heather, are you ready to find out if he can forgive you?
Yeah.
Go take your place in front of the door.
Don't believe that. That looks fake. Way to look.
Okay, Heather Burns, let's open the door. All right. Hi, Rodney.
Mother love.
Talk to your father.
Daddy, you know that I am sorry. I mean, like I said, you were always there for me. And to this day, I don't know why I did that to you.
Well, it's when you did that, it was like you pulled my heart out and stepped on it because I put everything on the line for you, and you just like you turned your back on me for a brief second, but it was enough to more or less mark me. I don't understand why you did that. I start questioning myself as being a parent. If I've done the right thing to even try to be a parent, I don't know. This is stuff that's been going through my mind since you've done this. So, but I still love you, and I'll always love you, and you'll always be welcome in my house, no matter what happens.
This is your child. You don't look at her like a stepdaughter or anything like that, do you?
No, Mother Love, I told my parents that if they didn't accept her as mine, then I didn't want nothing to do with them.
You're willing to cut your own people off. Do you understand what you've done to your father? Do you understand that when a child reports abuse by a parent, they could go into this system, into this child abuse abyss,
You're saying exactly
and he could never come out? Do you realize you could have destroyed his reputation? Is this still ongoing? Have they straightened this out in the legal system for you yet?
No, we're waiting the state to write us back.
You gotta wait, sitting on pins and needles. What is that like, knowing that your child, who you have put everything on the line, told your own family, I will turn my back on you if you do not accept them as mine? And she does this to you. I mean, the reason I'm asking, she's only 16. The trust has been violated, it's been broken. Is there things that she can do to try to build that up with you? And with you too, Tammy?
I feel if she would straighten up and at least go back to school and graduate, that would be a start.
So how about it? Your mother said earlier, you've got 4 other kids. You're the oldest. We always want to do what our oldest sister and brother does. Do you understand the position that you put your parents in, trying to discipline your other brothers and sisters? Is that a problem? Rodney, Tammy trying to get the other kids in order when they see Tammy just...
Heather just does.
Heather
just does what she wants to do, and my other kids just seem to, hey, she can do it, I can do it too. So, and my other children are 5, 6, 8, and 11. So, and they're just little, you know.
You have to get them in check now.
That's right. But every time that we try, it's like we're back around in the.
But see, it's not really about them getting them in check. It's
That's
about
right.
you getting in order. You respecting your parents' home. They have other children. And I tell this to all teenagers. I tell this to my children. If you don't like your parents' rules and regulations, and you don't like the parameters that they set for you, you know you can always Go and take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But you're 16. You don't know anything. All you know is 16 years worth of stuff, and at 16, your head is like an airbag. You out here thinking that your friends are gonna make sure that you're okay. Where your friends at now, baby? They're your friends sitting next to you. These are the people that care about what happened to you. They're not looking to turn their back on you. They're looking for you to come home, get your act together. Now, you promised them. You told your father you would go back to school. Didn't you? Well, I didn't hear you say it. Can I, just for my own sake, because I'm like that, can I just hear it come out of Heather Burns' mouth?
Yes, I will go back to school.
No, don't look at me. Tell your daddy. Tell your mother.
I will go back to school. I love you guys.
Thank you.
And graduate.
And I'll graduate.
And go to college. And get a job. And send us a wedding invite. And all of us are going to show up at your house if you break your promise.
Yeah.
Because that's what they are. You are giving your word. It has to mean something, sweetie. Stand on your word. They love you. I thank you for sharing your story. Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much.
That's called kind of wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. That's one man. That is one man. He couldn't even fake his way through that.
Nope.
And just to see, and people got to understand, you don't play with people's emotions.
God. Oh my God.
We had so many of them kind of shows where, I slept with my sister's boyfriend. Now both of us got a baby by him. What? What? They tell me, love, you cannot go out there with a strap and threaten to take them to the roof.
I know you probably just wanted to run up, do like one of them body slams across the stage. Like,
see, you already know. And I don't have a violent streak, but I could get violent. But my mother everybody would say, you don't have to hit anybody. You just cut them up with that tongue of yours. Your tongue. And even to this day, God have to pull it out of my head and tie out of my face and tie it in a knot so I could stay bridle. Because, I'm like a broke refrigerator. I can't keep nothing. I can't keep nothing. So what was your take on the dad being there? Did you think he was going to be there?
I did think he was going to be there because that's your daughter. And see, parents are just so, there's mother love, but there's also father love. And,
yes, it is.
And, parents are just so valuable. And I'm just so, I hope Heather today, I hope she's doing well. I hope she's learned from this because this, like we were saying earlier, this is a dangerous thing to put your parents, especially your father, who is like you said on the show, and like he said, he would disregard his own family for her.
Now that right there is something.
That's unbelievable.
And
and that you did that to your own stepfather,
right? And I never could understand step parents. What step are they on? The first step or the eighth step? My half brother. What half is your brother? The right half or the left half? The top half or the bottom half? You come in our family. I told you my mother took in stray kids, and to this day, most of them are grown. They're our age, got grandkids and the whole 9 yards. And I remember them saying, "If your mother hadn't got us in check," because everybody was scared of my mother. Everybody was scared of my mother. Even the gangsters was scared of my mother. Well, so, I really hope people get something out of this. It tugs at their hearts. They've been through that. They want to share. And a lot of times, more often than not, people just wanted to come and be heard. They wanted somebody to listen to what they had to say. And a lot of them were, I'd have to say, a lot of them were pretty nervous about coming on the show and saying what their story was. And what I always wanted to do is they felt like that they were in a safe place, that we weren't gonna, and I won't have people screaming and hollering at them and calling them names. This is if I could even dare to go as far as this, that was a sacred room and a sacred time because people were giving us their 411 on deep pockets of their lives. And I always made them think, well, they always say, I forgot that I was on TV. I felt like I was in your living room because I wanted you to feel like that. And that's a gift. That isn't something I could have made up in 100 years. That is a gift on loan from God. That's what it is. And I am just so thankful and so grateful that you do these for me and for us, because people got to understand Never underestimate the power of forgiveness. Shaq C, you make me bring out my Saturday. Remember, follow me on all of the platforms, social media platforms, and remember this: no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love and father love now and then. Enjoy your weekend. Know that I love you, and I love you too, babies. And nothing y'all could do about mother love loving you, because I'm goofy like that. Kisses to you, and kisses to our audience. Have a great one. Peace and blessing.
Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.